Well, a very warm welcome to Easy Odds Premier League videocast. Can you believe it? Another season is about to start. You know who he is. It's the Mad Dog, Ross Casey, the editor of easyodds.com and top football tipster. And his name is getting very well known across the web and across the UK as well. And you get his tips today absolutely for free. We're going to have a look at many aspects of the market for the Premier League. We'll have a look at, of course, at the title, teams to finish in the top four, the top goal scorer, which is it's a hugely interesting market this year. Go and have a look at it on easyodds.com, and also teams to be relegated. Rossi, Premier League. I bet you wish Bristol City were there. It could happen, of course, next season, couldn't it? Let's start at the top of the tree. And I think this is an interesting market because literally every article I've read, bar none, have said that Chelsea are going to follow up last season. The top price 13 to 8, but it's no given, is it? Considering we still got the best part of 10 days before the transfer window closes. Absolutely. And a lot can happen between now and then.
A lot can happen between now and then, but I have to agree with lots of other tipsters out there who are tipping Chelsea at 13 to 8. I think they are a great price, but the one worry that I do have about them is if Costa does prove that he is injury prone like he did last season. They missed him a little bit last season. Remy came in and did a pretty sterling job. Whereas this season they brought in Falcao, and I'm still think the jury's out on Falcao. He's another injury-prone striker, so they've kind of got two injury-prone but proven strikers in Falcao and Diego Costa. But can Remy come in and save the day like he did last season? But most importantly, in this market, I think they've got a manager in Jose Mourinho that knows how to win games, whether it's to park the bus, as it's so adamantly known, or whether to go out and attack. Unlike managers such as Arsene Wenger, who's proved time and time again, he has a plan A and it works very, very well. But if that plan A isn't working, he just doesn't have a plan B. Whereas Jose Mourinho is a bit more tactile and he knows how to get points on the board. Sometimes it's not pretty. I remember last season when they went to the Emirates, they were booed off the pitch for that 0-0 performance. But
he got the result.
But that took 2 points off Arsenal when they were already in front of them in the league. So I think with Jose Mourinho on board, they're the team to beat. Man City this season have brought in £49 million worth of Raheem Sterling. Great signing, in my opinion, in terms of what he can do on the field. The monetary value isn't actually anything to Man City. It doesn't matter whether they pay 100 million for Man City. That's pittance. But the worry that I have with Man City is that their defence is just not very good. Company proved last season that one, he's injury prone, and two, he isn't as good as he used to be. And if he's out, who did they bring in? Mangala? Has he proven himself? I don't think he has at all. So that's my worry with them. Arsenal, as I said, no real plan B, but I think they will come closer this year. I think that with Petr Cech in goal, it gives them a bit more stability at the back. Man United are an interesting one at 11 to 2, but for this season, unlike last season where they only had to concentrate on the Premier League and they were still only able to get fourth place, now they have Champions League football to think about. So I don't think that they're worthy at 11 to 2, and Liverpool 28 to 1. No. And
that was quick. That was a quick run. All you Liverpool fans out, that was a quick dismissal, wasn't it?
And Tottenham are then closest at 150 to 1, and I think that's
what they should be.
What they should be. So yeah, I think Chelsea to win at 13 to 8. The tactical nous of Jose Mourinho, and barring injury, they have the best team out there.
You know, the best team, and they arguably have the best squad. It'll be interesting to see what happens to the John Stones story, whether Man City, it's being mooted in the papers as we actually record this piece, whether Man City are going to maybe challenge Chelsea for his signing, because that's probably the one area, as Rossi was saying, that they need to fill in. Okay, that's the outright. So Rossi going for Chelsea to double up from last year, and they are odds against 13 to 8. Let's have a look at the top four market. Most pundits and punters would say this is set in stone at the moment.
Yep.
It's Chelsea, Man City, Arsenal, the two Manchesters, done and dusted.
Yeah.
Do you agree with that?
Well, the bookies do. Looking at the odds, the best price for those four teams that you can get is 1 to 4 with Manchester United. And then after that, you're looking at Liverpool at 11 to 4, Tottenham at 13 to 2, and Southampton hanging on in this market at 15 to 1 after their excellent season, when lots of people fancied them to actually go down last season. Southampton,
big time. Yeah, a lot of people said that, didn't they?
After an exodus of players, but they spent well and they did very, very well. In this market, I don't think it's worth backing anyone at odds on in this market. So I think that the value price here is actually Liverpool. I boo-booed them earlier in the piece.
You did actually, didn't you?
Saying that they wouldn't win the league, but
Bit
there's every
contradictory
chance.
there.
But there is every chance that they can finish in the top 4. I actually think they've spent the sterling money pretty well.
Better than last year. Yeah.
Much better than last year. I think they've got a decent attacking team now, and I think that what Rodgers has also done is sign players who are very energetic. So even if they struggle to be as great as the teams in front of them, I think that this season in particular they're going to work as hard as a lesser team would up against these teams. Whereas,
That's a good point.
And I think that will actually help them away from home as much as it will at Anfield. And I think that 11-4 there is actually a pretty good price. They have got Europa League to worry about, but Rodgers has said that he might actually play a lot of youth in that competition. So there's every chance that they're going to really give the Premier League a go this season. And as I said previously, I don't think they'll win it, but I think 11-4 is the best offer price there in that market.
Okay, so Rossi going for Liverpool at 1-1, 11-4. Don't forget, of course, all these prices for all these books changing constantly. Keep on looking at easyodds.com. And don't forget, week in, week out, Rossi will be writing his Premier League column for all the matches through the weekend. Okay, let's move on to what I think is the market we should play in.
Yeah.
You and I.
Definitely.
Let's put our money together. Let's get in here. Top goal scorer market, because to me, and I don't know what you think out there, this is hugely lopsided. 2 players at the top of the market, Aguero 7-2, Costa 6-1, who have been blighted by injury.
Yeah.
In the past couple of seasons. And we looked at this outside the studio. I turned to Ross and I went, 14-1 bar the 2? There's got to be some value there.
There has to be some value there. As you say, Aguero at 7-2, Costa at 6-1. Costa is less impressive there because, of course, Hazard takes the penalties for Chelsea, whereas for Man City, Aguero takes the penalties and usually scores. Man City will, I'm sure, tank a few teams at the Etihad this season. So I can see why he is favourite. But as we said in the build-up to this piece, Aguero is also quite injury-prone. He's actually also played in the Copa during the summer, so he might even miss a few games at the start of the season, much like Alexis Sanchez for Arsenal. So who's to say that the actual value here is actually looking past the favourites, and as we say, and there's quite a few here that I've actually pointed out. Harry Kane, last season's top British scorer at 14-1. He also takes penalties for Tottenham, of course, and free kicks sometimes when Christian Eriksen has proved that he can't do it. But here's an interesting one. Wayne Rooney at 16-1.
Remember the name?
Remember the name of Wayne Rooney. He will play now as a forward number 9. In the last few seasons, he's dropped back whilst Van Persie or Falcao played, and he had to do a bit more of a number 10 role. Yeah. Whereas this year, he's going to be thrust to the front and centre. Schweinsteiger, Schneiderlin, Carrick, Fellaini can all do the running for him, and he's there to put the goals into the back of the net. He'll be on penalties, and he'll share free kick duties with new signing Depay. So I think 16-1 is very good value there. Christian Benteke proved at Aston Villa in his second season at Villa Park that he can score plenty of goals, and he's now at a better team in Liverpool. He's
much better. And
he's available at 25-1, and with Daniel Sturridge out injured, he will start for the first half of the season. And if he proves that he's worthy of staying in that place, there's every chance that he can start for the rest of the season.
Yeah, he's really interesting because he's going to have the ammunition from midfield.
Absolutely.
To supply him. Liverpool arguably have one of the better midfields in the country, don't they?
Coutinho, Henderson, all players who can pick him out 25-1. But here's another interesting one. Okay. Olivier Giroud is not certain to actually front the Arsenal front 3 this season. And pre-season and at the end of last season, Theo Walcott was proving that he can score goals at the top of that of that forward 3, and at 33-1, I think that's a pretty good price because they've proven in pre-season that they're going to score a lot of goals. Their attacking threat is very, very big, and I think that's a pretty good price. So actually, my 2 picks here are Wayne Rooney at 16-1 and Theo Walcott at 33-1. So yeah, that's a big, big value there.
What are the odds first 3 for this market? And again, it's a market that's quite volatile through the first few weeks of the season. A player maybe gets a brace in the first week or the second week, and their odds collapse, and hopefully bookmakers push out of the prices.
So keep an eye on this market throughout the whole season.
Absolutely. Wayne Rooney then for Rossi, and he's gone for Lewis Hamilton's twin, Walcott at 33. People, you never see them in the same place, do you? Tell me, you never see them. Okay, let's go to the other end of the table. Let's have a look at relegation. Automatically, of course, your eyes focus upon the three teams that have come up: Watford, Norwich, and Bournemouth.
Yeah.
Which of those three is going to do best for you? It's a tough one, isn't it? Actually, I think psychologically you need to get off to a good start, don't you?
Absolutely. I think most importantly, Bournemouth have got an exceptional spirit to their squad, and they haven't brought in too many players, which I think won't upset the apple cart that much in that squad as well. So whilst many people will say, "Oh, who's Harry Arter? Who's Mark Pugh?" Players of that ilk. If you've got a tight knit team and they work hard, which they will do,
Makes a difference.
I think that they've got every chance of doing a Burnley and impressing, but not necessarily staying up. I don't think any of them are value to actually, because the best price there is Bournemouth at 7-5. Watford at 4-5 is a bit harsh, I think. I think they've actually bought quite well. Quique Sanchez-Flores, of course, has never managed in England, but he's a very good manager. He obviously doesn't trust English players because all 10 of his signings haven't been from England.
And they've got a huge squad, haven't they?
They've got a huge squad.
Yeah.
But can they gel? That's the issue there. But until I see them play, because let's be honest, with 10 new signings, that's a whole new team. So even talking about them last season in the Championship, it's a different team now. So that's a tough one to call. So my actual value here is Sunderland at 9-4. Dick Advocaat came in last season, kept them up. Seemed like he was off. Then he was brought back in. It seems like he's not entirely sure if he wants to be there. I'll be honest, and the signings he's made have been pretty poor in my opinion. 9-4 is a pretty big price for a team that went to the States and won one match out of 3, and then last night lost 2-0 away at Doncaster. That is a terrible way to start your pre-season, and I think that will carry on. I think they're going to struggle all season. Where will the goals come from this season? Stephen Fletcher, Danny Graham, players like that haven't got much Premier League goals in their names. I think they're going to struggle to score goals, so they're going to count on their defensive ability. And with Wes Brown at the back, who knows? They might score goals, but too many own goals.
I think he fancies Sunderland to go there. Okay, so really interesting. I mean, those are only 4 markets, and on easyodds.com, if you go on the website, there are hundreds of markets. There are transfer markets, first manager to get sacked markets, and don't forget, of course, about the Football League as well, with the Championship, League 1, League 2, and the non-league teams. And all these markets are constantly being updated, so it's worth checking, not just week to week, Saturday to Saturday, but day to day as well to find the value. So just saying again, for Rossi, he's going for Chelsea to defend successfully their Premier League title at 30-8. Liverpool to get into the top 4, he thinks is the value, if there is any, and it's a very tight market, 11-4. Each way for Rooney at 16-1 and Walcott at 33s. Can you believe it? The new Formula 1 world champion to become, well, you only need to return the top 3 there to make money. And Sunderland, Rossi feels, is the value to be relegated at 9-4. Thank you, sir.
No problem.
Thank you for watching here on easyodds.com, and keep an eye out for all our video casts as we go through the Premier League season. Bye for now.